Hello, my name is Scott Slack, and I am teaching a class today on portable fire extinguisher inspections. There's not a whole lot to the actual inspection of the fire extinguisher, so I'm going to hit a few other high points, or at least things that I think are noteworthy when I'm actually conducting a fire inspection that you need to look for or think about when you're actually looking at the portable fire extinguishers. I borrowed this water extinguisher from Safety City. This is the one that we use for the fire extinguisher demos. Right now it does not have a charge, there's no water in it, but for the purposes of being able to look at it and show you the different components of the fire extinguisher, that's why I have it here. So a few things when I'm doing a fire inspection that I look at is placement. First of all, placement on the wall itself. Per the 2009 IFC fire code that we use here in Abilene currently, when you have an extinguisher hanging on the wall, first of all, it does need to be hung. And the reason for that is if we just have fire extinguishers that are just set down, eventually they get pushed into corners, they get put in cabinets, they go further and further back in the cabinet to the point where people just forget that they even have them. So we have them on the wall, and for the code for that is basically the bottom of the fire extinguisher cannot be below 3 foot, and obviously that's so we don't have toddlers and young ones messing with the extinguishers, but the top of the extinguisher can be no higher than 5 foot. That is so that obviously if there's someone of shorter stature that they can still access the fire extinguisher. The other issue of placement would be that you need to be able to find an extinguisher every 75-foot walking distance. So by that math, if you had a building that was 150 foot by 150 foot with no walls or no doors, technically speaking, you could probably get away with one single 2A 10BC extinguisher in the very center of that building. That's not very common, but I was just trying to iterate a point. And the next thing is the actual inspection tags, which obviously this one doesn't have, but a lot of times with these businesses that we go to, the management is almost a revolving door, particularly with restaurants, places like that. It's very common for you to go do an inspection and then the next year have a completely different manager there who's brand new and doesn't really know what's going on as far as fire inspections are concerned. So a lot of times they're under the impression that when we come out and we take a look at their fire extinguishers and doing the fire inspections, that we're the ones actually tagging the fire extinguishers, when obviously that's not the case. So I kind of give them a little example, and the example I usually use for new managers is something like, you could be going down I-20 to the Metroplex, and a highway patrolman can pull you over. Now that highway patrolman might not know how to change a tire, he might not know how to change the oil in your car, but he can look at the inspection tag and know that a qualified mechanic gave your car the okay to be on the road and tagged it. Same for me. I'm that highway patrolman. I'm coming by and I see the tag, and then I know that a qualified technician has done maintenance and service to the extinguisher, and I know that extinguisher should be good. Also the dating, how they tag the inspection tags. Normally you see a date, something dated, particularly food or medicine, and you think you see that date that this product is no longer good. It's really the opposite for the tagging system they use for vent hoods and extinguishers. When that technician comes out to do their inspection, they tag the date of when they were there. So for example, if I had this extinguisher serviced this month, the tag would be tagged in November of 2018. Well, as an inspector, when I walk up, I know that tag is good from November 2018 to November of 2019. And this is something that oftentimes we have to explain to new management so that they know how to look at their own tags. As far as the inspection itself, it's pretty basic. So the first thing I'm doing, I'm walking up. You can usually tell when you see an extinguisher how high it is off the ground, if it's within range. You can usually tell with the extinguishers when you're walking the business whether it's pretty close to every 75 foot walking distance or not. And so you'd actually look at the extinguisher. You look to make sure, and this one's pin is missing, but make sure it had a pin in there. You would look for the inspection tag either hanging somewhere off of there, and for a lot of places like Lowe's, they will have actually a sticker that they stick the inspection tag in, they stick it to the extinguisher itself. That way it doesn't blow off or get frayed. As far as this dial, are you able to zoom in on this real quick for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as far as the pressure gauge right here, you want the yellow indicator to be within the green. That means it's not over pressurized, it's not under pressurized, and it should work when it's needed. And of course, you look at the nozzle unit, make sure that it's on there good. You can usually tell by walking up to one whether it's old and needs to be serviced, or if it looks fairly new, fairly unworn. And that's basically the components you're looking for when you do a portable fire extinguisher inspection. Is you're looking for a tag, you're looking for a pin, you're checking to make sure your pressure's good, and checking your nozzle assembly to make sure that it's not leaking and that it looks like it would work if needed. That basically that's it that I have for my class. I am going to try to add a few links to a PowerPoint of actual fire extinguisher demos, and thank you for your time.